So I'm going to just talk a little bit from my heart. You know, they always talk about funerals nowadays as being a celebration of life. But this one, definitely, that's what it's all about. You know, Mom was 96. You know, I think most everybody here, you know, she had 8 brothers and sisters, and there's 20 of us first cousins. And most everybody here is the cousins' kids, cousins' grandkids. I don't know if I've seen any great-grandkids here, but I know they exist. Okay? And other than that, I've got one cousin here from my dad's side of the family, Stanley. And where are you, Stanley? Somewhere in here. And there you are. You know, and I ask all the other cousins, meet Stanley. Stanley and I've been, you know, real close the last several years, and you know, really. You know, it's him and all of you. So, you know, so make him feel comfortable, you know. And then I got a few, you know, a few dear friends, you know, from Grand Haven here that, you know, Mike and Steve, that we've been close all these years, you know. And then, you know, Steve, when we were little, Steve grew up down the street and he was the neighborhood bully. And remember my dad, who you all pretty much know, right up until my dad passed away, every time he came to Grand Haven, he'd see Steve, he'd say, "Remember the time you threw the rock and hit Denny in the head?" Well, so I continue to keep that alive in memory of my dad. But when Steve grew up, my best friend when we were little wasn't actually Steve. It was his next door neighbor, John, who's sitting next to him. And I hadn't seen John in 15 years probably. And I don't think the two of them seen each other for 25 years. So I'm sure I left. And then I got, you know, my dad painted houses up here all his life. And, you know, the reindeers built them and my dad painted them. And reindeers was important in our life. And there's a reindeers here. When we moved to Florida, you know, one of the boys drove the U-Haul down with the truck behind us, and my mom drove her car and didn't think she could make it, but she got all the way down there. So he's here today. So thank you all for coming on behalf of me and my family and Mom. But, you know, for Mom, you know, I think everybody here knew her to some extent, some more than others. When we were all little, you know, we all had big family reunions. You know, the kids were all, your mom and her brother and sister, they were all real close because they all took care of each other growing up on the farm. And we were little, and, you know, we all got together, had these big family reunions every year. And, you know, that's what life was about to her. You know, if I take her priorities, it was simplicity. She liked everything simple and practical. It was humor through everything that she did. You know, you take the doctors, every time Faye took care of her the last many years, would run around. Every time you take her to the doctor, Mom's cutting some kind of silly joke with the doctor in there, you know. Music, we all know about her accordion and all the music stuff that's there. Probably the best thing on her music is, I guess I had 2 thoughts. Last year I turned 60 and we had a big party. And Bella, Dave were down there, and I play music nowadays yet, and I'm putting bass guitar on and getting ready to play, and come walking up the driveway is Steve and Patty, you know, my best friend, one of my 2 up here, and didn't even know they were coming. Well, we have this big party. Mom's 94. Before it's over, she's got accordion on, playing polkas for everybody at 94. You know, but she carried it right to the end because, you know, in the last 2 weeks, she had hospice with her, and she had one of the hospice people put her in her wheelchair and wheel her over to Oregon so that she could play a song for him, you know. So, you know, all that stuff's important to her, and humor and that. So, you know, I think today is happy to me. This whole week has been very happy because, you know, as you have a parent that's 96 years old, you constantly worry about what's in store for them. Are they going to suffer a lot? What are they going to do? She'd had cancer before, and fortunately she didn't have a lot of problems with it, but you never know. And, you know, a week ago today, up until then she was getting kind of confused the last few weeks. She'd fallen and hit her head, and she was getting pretty confused. But last Saturday was the first time Faye was over there. I called and talked to Mom. She was real upbeat, and she was talking about all kinds of things. They didn't all make sense, but she was talking to me about them. And I got off the phone, and she said to Faye, now who was that? Well, that was the first time. Sunday, we went over there after church, and we're talking, and she was real happy. And again, she's talking about stuff talking about this and that, and some of it with him, but nothing made sense together. And I looked at her, I said, "Do you know who I am?" And she says, "No, I don't." You know. Monday afternoon, I was doing some work for a friend of mine, And Faye called me in the mid-afternoon and says, yeah, I'll get over here. Mom's not doing well. Monday, she started struggling with breathing and got real hard. I got over there, and she was pretty much out of it and everything. And I was there for like 3 hours. I told Faye, I said, well, I'm going to run home. And I go home. I got home about 10 minutes. Faye called and says, she stopped breathing. So, 96 years old. She played music up to the end. She cut jokes with everybody up to the end. And one day she struggled. What's there not to be happy about? She wasn't going to be around another 20 years. So it went very quick and easy for her. And, so she's been saying for the last 5 or 6 years, I'd sure like to get up to Michigan. I said, you're not going. I said, because if we get partway up there and you have any problems, I don't know what we'll do. If you got, she depended on the doctors and everything. And I said, well, when you pass away, you go back up and we'll have a big party. And so that's today. So, I thank everybody for coming. It's really great to see everyone. It's we know in the family, funerals are the family reunions, and with us living in Florida, I don't get to many of them. I think the last one I was to was probably Uncle Joe's, when you made snowman with Timmy. And Timmy was this big, and now he's as big as you, So, but it's great to see everybody, and thank you, everybody, and thank the people, that are local here are coming out, and, it mean a lot to her, and this, it's all lighthearted and good memories. So, anybody else got any short story? Bunny, short stories? Anything short? Okay. Anything you like to say about Mom? What can we remember? You're going to have a hard time going after this, Father.